What's up, YouTube? It's Alexander the Sickness back here today with not a reaction but another Norse myth studies video. This is episode 2, and today we're going to be talking about one of the gods. Today we will be talking about the All-Father Odin. So, in Germanic mythology, Odin is a widely revered god in Norse mythology, from which stems most of the information about the god. Odin is associated with healing, death, royalty, the gallows, knowledge, battle, sorcery, poetry, frenzy, and the runic alphabet, and is the husband of the goddess Frigg. In wider Germanic mythology and paganism, Odin was known in Old English as Woden, in Old Saxon as Wodan, and in Old High German as Wotan or Wotan, all stemming from the reconstructed Proto-Germanic theonym Wodanaz. Okay, that's weird. Okay. Odin is prominently mentioned god throughout the recorded history of the Germanic people, from the Roman occupation of regions of Germania through the tribal expansions of the migration period of the Viking Age. In the modern period, Odin continued to be acknowledged in the rural folklore of Germanic Europe. References to Odin appear in place names throughout regions historically inhabited by the ancient Germanic peoples, and the day of the week, Wednesday, bears his name in many Germanic languages, including English. In Old English texts, Odin holds a particular place as a chimerized ancestral figure among royalty, and he is frequently referred to as the founding figure among various other Germanic peoples, including the Langobards. Forms of his name appear frequently throughout the Germanic record, though narratives regarding Odin are mainly found in Old Norse works recording in Iceland. Primarily around the 13th century, these texts made up the bulk of modern understanding of Norse mythology. In Old Norse texts, Odin is depicted as one-eyed and long-bearded, frequently wielding a spear named Gungnir, and wearing a cloak and a broad hat. He is often accompanied by his animal companions, the wolves Geri and Freki, the ravens Hugin and Mugin, who bring him information from all over Midgard, and rides the flying eight-legged steed Sleipnir across the sky into the underworld. Odin is attested as having many sons, most famously the gods Thor and Balder, and is known by hundreds of names. In these texts, he frequently seeks greater knowledge, at times in disguise, most famously obtained the mead of poetry, makes wagers for his wife Frigg over the outcome of exploits, and takes part in both the creation of the world by way of slaying the primordial being Ymir, and the gift of life to the first two humans, Ask and Embla. Odin has a particular association with Yule, and mankind's knowledge of both the runes and poetry is also attributed to him, giving Odin aspects of a culture hero. In Old Norse texts, female beings associated with the battlefield, the Valkyries, are associated with the god, and Odin oversees Valhalla, where he receives half of those who die in battle, and Einherjar, the other half, are chosen by the goddesses Freya and her afterlife location. Folkvanger, Odin consults the disembodied herb embalmed head of the wise being Mimir for advice, and during the foretold events of Ragnarok, Odin is told to lead the Einherjar into battle before being consumed by the monstrous wolf Fenrir. In later folklore, Odin appears as a leader in the wild hunt, a ghostly possession of the dead through the winter sky. He is associated with charms and other forms of magic, particularly in Old English and Old Norse texts. Odin is a frequent subject of study in Germanic studies, and numerous theories have been put forward regarding his development. Some of these focus on Odin's particular relation to other figures, for example, the fact that Freya's husband, Odr, appears to be something of an etymological doublet of the god, whereas Odin's wife Frigg is in many ways particular to Freya, and that Odin has a particular relation to the figure of Loki. Other approaches focus on Odin's place in the historical record, a frequent question being whether the figure of Odin derives from Proto-Indo-European religion or whether he developed later in Germanic society. In the modern period, Odin has inspired numerous works of poetry, music, and other forms of media. He is venerated in most forms of the new religious movement, heathenry, together with other gods venerated by the ancient Germanic peoples. Some branches focus particularly on him, like Odinism. And that is about it, guys. That was Odin. And we will dive into more stories, particularly about other gods and whatnot, here soon. But that was Odin, and well, that's it for our episode today. If you guys like, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell for more updates on the channel, and I'll see all you dude and dudettes in the next video. Later.